Hi, this is Astrid, and welcome back to the channel. So, tonight we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to mix it up, and I'm going to call this Wednesday Night Mix Up. So, what I've been doing is I've been focusing really hard on improving my mixing skills. In an effort to improve, you always have to practice. So what I've been doing is sitting down, allowing my ears to acclimate to my new room, and also acclimate to some new settings that I've been using. So I did go out and get some assistance, some additional assistance with the room problem, and I picked up the Sonar Works reference 4. If you're not familiar with this particular tool, it's a calibration tool that allows you to be able to take measurements of your room. And what it does is it applies a profile based upon the measurements to make the signal as flat as possible in a simulated way. Now, getting used to this is it's been a real struggle. So I'm taking it like baby steps at a time. So I'm mixing with the thing turned on, and I've noticed a tremendous difference from a sound and also volume perspective of how things sound in my room. So that's one issue. The other issue is, well, it's not necessarily issue. These are not issues really. These are just learning hurdles for me. So the other thing is that I've been using so that I can balance my mix is the Tonal Balance by Isotope. So what I allow it to do is just kind of give me kind of a guidance on the overall balance of my whole track. And here I'll just show you how it works. Okay, so what it does again, it takes a measurement of your mix, and it kind of fits your mix into an analytical profile based upon the most popular recordings that are out there. According to this, I'm kind of within range. I only use this as, guidance. I don't go 100% by it because sometimes when the highs are too high, maybe it's something with the hi-hats. I'll have to go in there and adjust the gain levels on the hi-hats. And then sometimes I can fix some of this in the mastering. But it's been a really good tool for being able to kind of balance everything out. And especially with bass, I'm having a major bass buildup in my room. And I think it's just inherent to the size of this room that I can't really get around it. So it's been super helpful with determining if I'm just oversaturating everything with bass, and I've been able to really balance out my mixes by using it. So the other thing, let me just kind of look at this track. I'll show you what's happening. So I've been experimenting with guitars for a while. I am experimenting more with alternative sounds for guitars. Sometimes I play them and sometimes I don't. It really depends on what mood I'm in. I have been picking up the guitar and learning. I am working on tones right now, and that is a practice skill that it requires you to spend a lot of time just playing. So I spend about an hour almost every other day, and I'll just sit down and try to learn how to tweak the tones. And that's been pretty fun. But this track, I'm using something different. I'm using a guitar rig, which has been a major, really, really good tool for me to use for guitar tones. I'm using one of the stock patches. And guys, please just try the stock patches. manipulate them, change the settings. I mean, seriously, they're starting points for being able to start a project. I do that a lot. And I'm also using another Native Instruments plugin called Freak, and I'm using it as a sidechain element, and it gives it like a different type of harmonic sound. And let me just let you hear what that sounds like by itself. Okay, that's with it. That's without. So it's kind of gritty, very gritty sound. So again, I experiment quite a bit. Even more so now with the adding the guitar effect in there. The other thing I drug out was I wanted to add a little bit of a kind of a top melody. So I added the virus access, and I've got a sound in there, and I'm using this new plugin by Wave Tracing called SP950. It's like the emulation of an SP950 drum machine from way back in the day. And I'm actually kind of liking this plugin. It's very harmonic in what it does. It reminds me a lot of like the new these like the Studer, where it uses harmonics to be able to kind of give it a bit of color and flavor, and I really like that. So I've been tinkering around with that, and this is what I did with this one. Let me just play this. Okay, this is without. This is with it. So, as you can see, it gives it a little bit of grit. Very cool little plugin. I'm kind of impressed with that one right now. It's been really good for keyboards. I also have it on my... Hold on, where did I do with that? I added Wave Station. So I've been messing around with the Korg Wave Station, and I'm using... this is a really nice layered kind of belly kind of patch. Let's see, what is this thing called? Come on, patch, where the hell are you? Show me where you are. Oh, sorry. It's right in my face. Oh, I'm just blind as hell. New Sparkle is what that one's called. And then I've also got the SP950 on it, and it gives it like a bit of grit. And then I've also wanted to add some movement, so I added a pancake. And I wanted to separate the spectrum of where this thing is playing in the mix. So I put a Fab Filter Pro Q because it's got a lot of mid-range in it, and the more that I listen to it, it seems like it's stepping on top of stuff. So I've been tinkering around with where to place it so that it doesn't step on top of the other keyboard parts. So this is what this one is doing. Okay, that's with the SP950. This is without. So see, there's a bit of some high end in there. You don't hear it when the SP950 is on. So it completely changes the sound. So it makes it a little bit more mid-rangey. So, but I have it panning from left to right because I wanted to have it be a little bit more dynamic. And I think I want it to do a hard pan because I wanted to have that weird kind of movement. So also in my experimentation, I've been really trying to understand dynamics as well, because instruments are not all down the center. So your kicks are going to be in the center, your snares are going to be in the center, and your snare volume is also going to kind of match your vocals. The hi-hats, you can either have them off to the side or a little bit towards the middle. I need to listen to the hi-hats again. I think I want to place them off to the side, and that may be my issue right now with why things sound like they're stepping on top of each other. So let me move that off to the side. Now the sub is always going to be down the middle, and so the access virus, I have it panned off to the right, and then my other primary melody, have it panned off to the left. So there's method in my madness. But this one, the top melody is actually panning from left to right, but it actually lives on the left side. So that's kind of a little trick that I've been tinkering around with. The vocal is always down the center. And I think I talked about this the last time. My vocal chain is always like the Shep's Omni channel, and I've got an Echo Boy in there doing a little bit of a classic analog delay, and I've got a vocal rider to keep the vocal kind of tame because it's moving a lot, and it makes the vocal kind of sit a little bit better in the mix. So I'm using, and you know what, I wanted to make it a smoother ride. And I want to make it, let me change my range just a little bit. I'm going to change my range a little bit and make my target right around there. Let's see what that sounds like. Better. Okay, so this profile, I'm playing it right now without the SonarWorks reference being turned on, just so that I can kind of understand what's happening, because I'm so used to mixing without it. But this, I'm gonna go ahead and add it back. There's a tremendous difference with it on. That's with the tonal balance on, or with the SonarWorks reference on. So apparently it thinks that I have too much bass in my room, so it almost turns the bass completely off, which is just, you can't mess with a black woman's bass. That's just not right. So I'm, again, slowly weaning myself into this thing, but it is telling the truth. This room is very bassy, to be 10 by 12 by 8. So I'm also working on adding some additional bass trapping. I may have to change up some things behind me to get my bass more in check. I've spent quite a bit of time with messing around with my panels and actually going and getting some proper ones instead of trying to build them myself, which was not helpful. Because when I took the original room analysis of my room, it was like my panels were not even there, which was kind of funny. After I added even the first few, I instantly started seeing a change. So guys, if you really do want to improve the sound of your room, maybe try not to build them. Maybe set aside a budget for some professionally built panels. You don't have to buy them all at once. You can, start with one or two and just kind of work from there, and then make sure that you're getting in a room analysis before you start, so that you'll have a starting point, and then continue to try to improve it as much as possible to make your mixing life a little bit easier. I know this is definitely helping me. It's not the thing that I really want to spend money on. Trust me, it can be a little bit pricey, But long term, from a mixing perspective, it is really making a big difference. Also, continuing to utilize Luna as my console replacement, and I am absolutely in love with the Neve summing. This thing adds just a bit of a sheen on top of your track that's just I can't even verbalize how it sounds. Um, it's so subtle. You have to have really good speakers to be able to tell. Um, it would be impossible for me to even kind of attempt to try to show you what it sounds like it on and off with this microphone. You may not be able to tell, but it is a really interesting plug-in. Also, the saturation from the Studer is very interesting too. It adds like a bit of noise, which is quite interesting how the human ear uh, really likes noise. So I guess we're like so accustomed to having so much noise in our lives. When we don't have it, things sound funny. Um, but it adds an element of noise um, the sound stream that's very subtle, but it's harmonic, and it sounds very good when it's blended with all of the instrumentation. So I'm continuing to work with that, but yeah, the struggle is real with getting everything balanced and trying to work on the vocals, because the vocals now sound funny to me working this way. It's just and it playing. What's really funny is I'm playing a lot of the instruments in, and I have to do it on even just regular plugins. I see that there's a huge latency that I just hadn't. I've been so accustomed to just playing with the big delay that I didn't realize it affected my playing. So I have to learn how to play to the click again, which is really funny. So this has been quite a journey over the past few months. I mean, I kind of started at the beginning of the year because I knew I wanted to make some improvements. Of course, I set aside a budget and I tried to decide exactly what direction to go. I don't haphazardly go out and just buy stuff. I'm very stickler with a budget. I sit down and I think about what it is that I need to be able to improve, if there are things that I need, or if there are things that I need to replace. Maybe I need to shuffle some equipment around in the studio and sell some things and then use the funds from that to go buy something else that's better. I do that quite a bit. And it's very helpful to me to be able to do that. You know, I'm not rich. I'm just an average Jill with a day job like everybody else. And if I don't budget, then I won't be able to get the things that I want. So that's it. That's what it is. So, in continuing to work on this track, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just bounce it down, and then I'm gonna listen to it from my computer, and that sometimes will tell me the truth about what's happening as well. I was lucky enough to come across some consumer grade speakers by Edifier. They're the R 2000 dBs. I should be getting those this week. I actually won an eBay auction. I couldn't believe it. I've always had issues like bidding on eBay auctions. I always think that they're rigged. The sellers have the fake accounts where they're trying to upbid the cost so they can get more money out of the item that they're selling. So I normally don't bid on stuff like that. I'll normally just buy it now or buy it on Reverb. And you know what? Reverb has changed a lot over the past few years. It's almost not even worth buying anything on there anymore now that they're sales taxing everything. it makes it really difficult to like really plan and budget for stuff, because sometimes when you find deals, the deals are great, but then when they tack the taxes on top of it, it's like that's not a deal, and then you still got to pay for shipping. So I'm really not happy about all the things that are happening with sales tax for online sales. And I do realize the states need the money, but there has to be an alternative way of doing this now. It really hurts the consumer. It's like we're taxed to death, and the services that we're being provided are not, they're not even up to grade for the amount of money that we dump into stuff. It just really frustrates me thinking about how our system works. And I don't want to go on a rant about economics. It just really frustrates me when I think about how things are on this rock. Okay, so now that I have my exported file, let me just take a quick listen and see what's going on with it. Okay, I'm going to listen to it with the oratones. They're truth tellers. They sound like crap, though. So also, I have been messing around with monitoring at lower volumes as well, and I found that if I mix at a lower volume, I have my focus on all of the instruments is a little bit more focused. Whereas if things are too loud, it's like I'm totally focused on just the snare and the vocals, which is not good. But if I listen at a lesser volume, like in the 65-ish range, 63-ish range dB, my ears are a little bit more okay with it. Okay, so now let me save this track that I'm tinkering with. I don't know what I want to call it. Me and my weird naming conventions. Let's see. That is not right either. What is going on? Where is my stuff? Not seeing it. Okay, I think let's see, what do I want to call this one? We'll just call it Wednesday Mix. So I really don't, maybe I'll go back and work on this track and put it into a song format. But primarily what I'm doing is working on mixing and making sure that I understand placement of instrumentation, overall balance control, and final mix. So I've been, again, trying to spend at least a day or in the evenings doing this, and it seems like it is helping me. I'm starting to feel a lot more comfortable with it, and I think maybe that's the key, is your own personal comfort level with your mixes. And I'll be glad to get those edifiers, because I'm tired of having to go to the car to listen to the track and try to determine what's wrong. So I'm going to use the mastering assistant. This thing has been really helpful to me as well. So I'm using Ozone 9, their little mastering tool. Let's see, I'm going to do it manual. I'm going to make it a medium intensity, and if we're streaming, and let's just... looks like I need to create a profile. Let me make sure I turned off the global mode as well. I need to turn off the global mode for that profile because it seems like it's adding. Let me just disable that for a second. Let me play that back again. So in my original analysis, it told me that the left speaker is a little bit louder than the right speaker. So when you play something from it, it reduces the volume of the left speaker, which is kind of weird. Yeah, it's totally out of balance. That looks like I may have some phasing happening. So this is what I was talking about with my my issues with Ableton. So now I've apparently got some phasing happening in there. Did I turn off that thing before I bounced it out? Hold on, let me make sure, because I may have to rebounce it again if I didn't turn it off, because then it looks like it records that sonar profile. That was why I had the sonar profile turned on. Okay, let's try that again. That was not good. All right, let's throw.
2 hours later.
Clippy is trash. Clippy is trash. All right, let's move that off to the side. I'm gonna have to reopen this thing up again and then do another export. And I made sure that I turned off the SonarWorks, because when you record with it on, it gives you incorrect information about the overall mix. It is taking into the account of the room, and we don't want that in the mix, so we're turning it off. Okay, so let me open up this song again. Oh, come on, Ableton, really? Okay, let's open up Wednesday Mix again, and we're just going to bounce it out without the SonarWorks turned on. And hopefully everything will be balanced again from left and right. I think I need to maybe turn my imaging. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see what I got going on with my imaging. Okay, so let's see what that sounds like. Oh, I need to go back to the big ones. Okay, let me just kind of leave it right there. Still got something is just not. Let's see, what else do I have? That FabFilter Pro Q3 is in my master, and let me see. What I'm looking at is here. See, my left and right are not kind of balanced. Let me listen to it a little bit deeper here. Okay, it actually does sound okay. Add that back. Okay, so I added that back. Let me bounce this thing again and see if that's just me tripping, or if it really is like phasing. Always something. All right. Okay. Just close that. Bring back the ozone. See how quiet that is? Okay, actually it sounds better without that, without the SonarWorks profile in there. So I'm just doing a manual. I don't have a reference right now, but if I did have a reference, I would add one. And then I'm just gonna play it. What makes it loud is the limiter. When it adds the limiting, it gets really loud. I'll just turn this down before it jacks up the volume. And there it goes. So I have in my profile the LUFS is -14. So let's just play it back again. Let's see where things are. So my true peak, let's make that about maybe -6 dB. And let's bring this. Listening to it in mono. Hold on, let me make sure. I don't think I need to screw around with the imaging. Okay, let's look at. Let's look at the spectral shapers. It's like I lost some of the highs. I don't want it to be like too crispy. It really hurts your ears when you're like, it's too crispy. Bass is actually really pretty tame, so I may want to add just a little bit of bump to it. You know, again, I gotta have my bass in there, man. But I don't want to bump it up so much that it's just out of control. Okay, listening to what it sounds like if it was an MP3 at 96 kilobits. And 192, just listening to the artifacts. Let's add a little dither to it. Dithering is noise, but it's noise that we're used to hearing, which is kind of funny. Without the noise, it sounds really robotic. So let's go medium. CD quality is okay. Let's see what that sounds like. Changing the compression to IRC2. So looking for the snare. I want it to be just a little bit more snappy. Just looking for it. So it looks like I've tamed my volume, overall volume, so I'm not peaking, out of control. So I'm still in the acceptable range for sound volume of the services. That spectral shaper, the mid side, maybe I should have brought it back up a touch. Because it seems like I had to compensate for it by changing my EQ. Maybe that wasn't a good path to go down. I'll have to keep listening. So all of this is totally subjective. Again, I struggle with mid-range. So what may sound good to somebody else may not sound that good to me. But I'm working on it. I am working, I'm learning, I'm working. I'm not always super creative when I'm in technical mode. So this is kind of one of those moments where my music is probably sounding really horrid. And I apologize. But when I'm trying to learn something from a technical perspective, my creativity goes out the door. But I did want to share this stuff with you guys. Just, so that you can kind of see my process and what I've been doing. I think I'll probably start showing you more videos of me working on stuff and as I'm continuing to learn. This has been a pretty interesting journey in trying to engineer my own stuff. It'd probably be easier just to make sure that my mix is balanced and just have somebody else master it, but that's just no fun. That's just not how I work. I have to learn all of it. So it's just taking quite a bit of time to really understand all of the tools, the new tools, and how to use them, and the metering, making sure that I'm adhering to the standards that are set, so that the next time that I actually have some real stuff I'm ready to upload, it'll be better. That's all I can get is better. I want to thank you guys for stopping by and spending time with me and watching this. And I know that we're all going through a very unique time in history. And if anything, this is the best time to take yourself to a higher level by learning something new. Outside of this mixing stuff, I've taken on learning to program in Swift. I keep myself busy, and I try to not watch the news all the time because it can be extremely depressing. My blood pressure has been going off the charts, so I've been really making sure I'm taking my blood pressure medicine. I can only watch 5 minutes of the news, and then I have to turn it off. So you guys, I really hope that you're staying safe and making sure that you're listening to the scientists with this thing. Very experienced in understanding the virus along with all of the other health related things. It's best to stay safe and adhere to the social distancing rules, as well as, make sure that you're wearing the mask. This thing is just, it has no, it's taking no hostages. It's really just picking and choosing what it wants to do with whoever. So just be safe, and that's all I've got for you. I'll see you on the other side.